In this video, I will explain to you on how to use support and resistance the right way in order to become a profitable trader. But before we start, my name is Remy King, and in today's topic, I will share you my knowledge on how I use support and resistance the right way in order to manage multiple seven figures in capital at the age of 21. So don't waste any time, let's get straight to the topic. So first of all, we're going to talk about the principles, the basics on how to identify a perfect resistance or support area, because there is three ways on how I like to use my resistance or support zone. Okay, so first of all, I want to show you guys three different ways on how to draw in resistance. So the first case is that price is rejecting off of this area multiple times and cannot break through, okay? It just simply can't break through this area and decides to go to the downside. This is our first example. We're going to mark it as number 1. This right here is going to be our first example of a resistance area. And the second example then is price is rejecting off of this area, let's say about 3 times, and then decides to break through our resistance zone. And this is going to be our second example when it comes to identifying resistance, or when it comes to trading resistance the right way. Okay, so first of all, number 1, price is showing multiple rejections off of the resistance zone. Price cannot break through that area. And then on our second example, price is showing rejections off of that resistance area, but unfortunately breaks through that resistance area. And then we have our third example, which is nothing else than price rejects off of our resistance area again multiple times, then breaks through our area like in the second example and decides to retest our market structure, and then it goes to the upside, which means this resistance area is being used as a support area, which I'm going to show you guys after this example. So our number 3 is going to be right here. Okay, so once again, let me explain it to you guys. First example, number 1, price is showing a lot of rejections off of the resistance, we cannot break through. Second example, price is showing a lot of rejections off of that resistance area. Unfortunately, it breaks above that area. Third example is price is showing us a lot of rejections, breaks above the area, comes back and uses our previous resistance, our gray box, as a support area right here. Okay, those are the 3 steps you have to keep in mind when wanting to master resistance perfectly. Okay, these 3 steps for now on. And when talking about support, our support area, it's basically the same but for the opposite. Now, what do I mean by that? So right here we have our gray box again, okay? And in this case, I'm gonna name it as our support area. Support, boom. Right here, this is going to be our support zone. Okay, and for that, we also again have 3 examples on how to use it. So the first example is going to be that price is showing a lot of rejections off of the support area and cannot break below. Okay, price is just simply rejecting this area and then goes to the upside. It's basically like the first example on the resistance area, but for the support side. Okay, so right here we have number 1. Boom, this is our first example. And then for our second example, price is showing us multiple rejections off of this area like this, and then breaks below the support area. Okay, just simply breaks through our support zone. And this is going to be our second example when it comes to drawing in a support zone perfectly, or wanting to understand a support zone the best way possible. And then for a third example, we have that price is showing us rejections off of the support again, and then breaks through the support zone and retests it before dropping again, which is now basically like the third example on the resistance side, but for the support zone, right? Because right here we can see that the support zone that we were using previously is now a resistance area at this area. Okay, so those are the 3 steps you need to understand in order to have a clue of what either a support area is or a resistance area is. So let's now put it all together for the support side again. First example, we are rejecting off of the support zone multiple times. We cannot break through that area. Price is rejecting and going up to the upside. Then second example, price shows multiple rejections off of the support area, breaks through and goes to the downside. Third example, last example, price rejects off of the support zone multiple times, then decides to break below the support zone, retest it, use it as a resistance area, and then go to the downside. Those are the steps you need to master or keep in mind in order to have a better clue of what I'm going to show you guys on the charts. Okay, so now having a look at the charts, what we need to understand is that, first of all, this support and resistance strategy works for every single forex pair, for every commodity, and literally everything you want to trade on the market, right? And the number one most important thing that you need to understand is that I like to use this concept off of the 4-hour time frame. I like to draw in everything on the chart on a higher time frame, like the 4-hour time frame, in order to have a better understanding of the market and in order to be even more precise with my support and resistance area, in order to not get tricked by those so-called liquidity sweeps on a lower time frame. So first thing first, what we need to look at is we want to identify either support or resistance area on the chart. So for in this example, we are going to have a look at, let's now stick for the resistance areas, okay? We want to identify as much resistance areas as we can on the charts. So yeah, let's just now start right here. As you can see, we are on a 4-hour time frame. What we need to do is to look for resistance opportunities, areas where we can see strong resistance. Boom, right here, this would be a perfect example of a strong resistance area. So some of you guys are probably asking, why am I using this line right now? Because previously I was showing you guys a gray box. Don't worry, I use the line tool right here in order to find a good support or resistance area, and afterwards I like to draw in my boxes to be more precise. But for now on, we are going to stick on this line tool to identify as much resistance opportunities as we can, and afterwards we are going to use the boxes to be more accurate. Okay, another opportunity is around this area, as you guys can see, because we are prices rejected multiple times. Like on the first example, boom, we have our first rejections right here. Then we have rejections right here again, and keep in mind we are on the 4-hour time frame, which means you are way more accurate than on a lower time frame, because if you draw in those areas on a 50-minute time frame, price will most likely break through those areas and then go down again, and not showing you guys any type of rejections that you are looking for in order to not get beat up by the market. Because trust me, as soon as you learn that a higher time frame is way better to use than a lower time frame, you will understand and finally make a bigger step towards the goal of becoming a profitable trader in the long term. And trust me, when I talk about those things, I'm pretty sure that I can provide you guys the knowledge, because I myself, I'm a swing trader. I won the best swing trader award at one of the biggest prop firms out there called For Traders. And trust me, if I say that a higher time frame is better to use, then I want you to understand that you should stick to the higher time frame and that you should try the higher time frame and not judge before everything. So yeah, right here we have another rejection and another rejection before we break through our resistance area right here. Okay, but for now I want you to understand that this right here is a perfect example of a resistance zone. And then looking at the other example, at the next example, it's basically the same, right? Price is showing us multiple rejections off of this resistance area right here. Boom. And again right here, showing us rejections multiple times on a 4-hour time frame. Yeah, and this is basically everything you need to know in order to identify the perfect opportunity for you to draw in a resistance or support area. And as you can see right here, we have multiple resistance areas, right? And I want you to understand that the markets are not always going to give you a perfect so-called resistance or support zone, because that's not the reality, right? The markets are not pitchly perfect, drawn in images that you just simply can look at and say, oh yeah, this is a perfect example, this is a perfect opportunity for me to draw in my areas. No, price will not always give you a perfect support or perfect resistance, but if you know on how to use them, then you will have a better understanding and a better feeling, because nothing can beat experience. Okay, so right here, this is not as a perfect example, but you can use this right here as a so-called resistance as well. Okay, because I want you to understand that price still used this area and rejected off of it multiple times. And like I said, this line tool is not going to be as precise as the boxes. So yeah, boom, we have another rejection right here and another rejection right here at this area. Okay, and yeah, this is basically on how to identify the perfect opportunity for a resistance zone. And when wanting to perfectly master it and be as precise as possible, you need to understand this thing right here. So let me delete all of this so you have a better view of what I'm going to do right now. Boom, 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 and boom. Okay, so I'm gonna leave the line tool as it is right now, but yeah, like I said, we are going to focus on how to draw in the boxes as perfectly as they can get. So in the best case, I would just simply look at the levels on where price, or where I see that price was showing us the best rejections possible. And as you can see, this is a perfect example on how to draw in resistance the right way, because right here we have a little bit of wicks to the upside, but don't worry about that, because the wicks are not the actual closure of a candle. So sometimes we traders don't even have to look at the wicks when wanting to draw in perfect resistance or support areas, because wicks are going to be important for us when wanting to identify trades or when wanting to place a stop loss and to avoid liquidity sweeps. But for now on, what we need to focus on is to draw in our zones as precise as possible. And how you can do this is just simply practice the concept that I'm showing you guys, and to have a feeling over the time. Because right here we can see that this is a pitch perfect example of a perfect, let me move the line away for you guys, of a perfect resistance area. And when looking at the other example, our market structure would look like this right here, right? Because we can see that when moving away the line, that this right here is being absolutely pitch perfectly used as a resistance when drawing in those gray boxes. Okay, and now again right here, as you can see, this is an uglier example that I showed you guys before, but still, these are the markets, baby. You're not always going to get a pitch perfect setup. So in this case, again, I'm gonna move away this line chart, this line tool, and yeah, right here, my resistance area would look like this. Okay, because we still as you guys can see, got those rejections a couple of times. Boom, nothing complicated at all. This is basically on how to draw in the perfect resistance zone when wanting to master trading, when not wanting to lose trades, especially because we're on a higher time frame, which means we are more precise than the people on a lower time frame. Okay, so now that we know on how to draw in our resistance area, it's now time to understand on how to draw in our support area, which is basically the same, but I'm still going to show you guys a couple of examples. Okay, so yeah, again, we're going to use this line tool. Right here, I can see another opportunity. This is our support. Why? Because we have multiple rejections off of this area right here. We have multiple rejections, boom, on a 4-hour time frame off of this area that is being used as our support. And yeah, another example would be down here. As you guys can see, boom, we have another, let's say like this, another support zone, suck, with multiple rejections right here. We could use these as rejections as well. Boom, right here, and even right here, because we are going to see the rejection as soon as we draw in our box. Okay, so yeah, this is another way, and boom, here again we can see a perfect opportunity for a support area that was being respected on a higher time frame, like the 4-hour time frame. And don't overcomplicate it, guys, because you can basically use this concept on any time frame you want. You can use this on a weekly time frame, on a daily time frame, even on a 5, 15 or 30-minute time frame. But like I said before, I like to stick on a 4-hour time frame when it comes to drawing in things on my chart. Yeah, so basically this is on how to use a support the perfect way in order to not get beat up by the market on a longer amount of time. And here again we can see another example, which is quite an uglier example as the other ones, but still, like I say all of the time, the markets are not going to always give you perfect opportunities to draw in areas. When we have multiple rejections right here. Okay, so now that we know on how our support areas are looking like, I want to do the same that I did with our resistance examples. We want to draw in the boxes, okay, because they are going to show us a beautiful example on how to use market structure the right way, like this right here. Okay, boom, let me move away the line. Tuck. This right here would have been a perfect example on how to draw in the boxes when wanting to identify support opportunities. And for the next example right here, boom, boom, I would draw in market structure, our support area like this right here, which is absolutely perfect. It cannot get more precise. Just look at the examples. If this concept is not the living proof on how to master support and resistance, then I don't know what else is. And especially on a higher time frame, guys, because come on now, who else can provide you guys something like this on a higher time frame? Because everyone else out there is talking about resistance support areas on a lower time frame, which makes absolutely no sense to me. Okay, let me move this away. Suck. Boom, boom, and we need our gray boxes again. It will look like, let me say, it will look like this right here. Something, it will look like this. And as I said before, sometimes you're going to see these wicks, because those wicks does not matter when it comes to drawing our resistance or support areas. They're just important to avoid liquidity sweeps or to place the perfect stop loss. Okay, but for now we can see that price perfectly rejected off of those areas and used it as a support. And here again, the last example so you guys can understand it, and afterwards we are going to move on how to use them for your benefit and how to find trades based off of this concept right here. Okay, so I'm gonna move the line chart away like this, line tool, and yeah, we have another market structure opportunity like this. We have multiple rejections, so we have market structure, support structure, tsak, absolutely beautiful, guys. So yeah, it cannot get as better than it is right now. So for the last part, now we know on how to draw in resistance and support the best way possible based off of this concept. And what we need to do now is to identify potential trades based off of what I showed you guys in the past examples, in the previous examples. And for that, what we need to do is we need to go back to the first 3 examples on how to use our support and resistance areas that I showed you guys at the beginning. Okay guys, let's start with our first resistance example that I showed you guys previously, which is that price will most likely reject off of this area multiple times. And as you can see, that exactly happened, because right here we can see that price is respecting, let me make this a little bit bigger for you guys, respecting this resistance area a couple of times. Boom. Right here multiple times like this. Okay, we have a first rejection right here, and then we have another rejection right here, and you can use those confluences for possible short opportunities. But listen closely, please do not trade based only off of this concept, because my strategy is based on fundamentals. I want to know the direction of the market before I even look for possible entry opportunities based off of technicals. And that's only possible if I know the fundamental direction behind everything, because we need to understand why the market is moving its way in order to enter a trade. And if you want to learn more about that, make sure to join a community full of dedicated traders, which is called NGT, the next generation of traders, where I build traders in order to become a potential profitable trader in the future and master everything they need to know about trading, and potentially join my investment firm called Quancore Capital, where my team and I manage multiple 7 figures. So if you want to learn about that, feel free to hit me up on Instagram, write me a DM, or click the link in the description in order to join NGT, the next generation of traders. Okay, but for now, we can see that price gave us multiple rejections. And what I like to see, or what I like to look for, is, let's now say we are bearish for gold and we saw multiple rejections, and I would like to enter a short position, let's say right here. Okay, I like to enter a short position based off of these rejections, and it would look like something, let's example like this. Okay, let's just say we entered a trade after we saw rejection right here and place our stop loss above this so-called resistance area. Okay, and then boom, what can we see? We can identify another support area right here where I would have gotten out of the trade like this. Okay, so my trade would have been something, boom, like this right here. I would have gotten out around this area to secure all of my profits based off of this concept. And yeah, this is basically one way on how to use resistance the right way. But be careful now, because I'm going to show you another example on what also can happen. So as soon as you see multiple rejections off of that area and your fundamental bias is aligning with this concept, then you can look for possible entry opportunities. Perfect. So let me move this away again. Suck. Okay, now moving forward on the chart, we can see that we had multiple rejections right here as well. But price then decided to break above this resistance area. Okay, price said, oh, you know what, I have enough from this area, I want to do something new. I want to break above that area and go to the upside. Okay, and in this case we are at the third example that I showed you guys before. And don't get me wrong, we are going to talk about the second example as well, but in this case we just have a perfect opportunity to talk about the third example that I was showing you guys at the beginning. So in this case, boom, price break through our resistance area, went back to retest it, as you guys can see right here perfectly. I mean, this is a textbook retest. Used it as a support and then went to the upside. Okay, and in this case, let's now say we had a fundamentally bullish flip, so we can look for long opportunities. Boom, we can enter right here, place our stop loss around this area a little bit below the wick so we don't get stopped out, and let the trade run all the way until you want to get out of the trade. In this case, let's say around this area right around here. Boom, and as you guys can see, we perfectly hit our take profit zone based off of this concept. And this is just one way how to use this strategy, guys, because I'm telling you, as soon as you master this concept, you master the understanding of your fundamental bias, then trading flips and everything changes. So this is the third example. Now we're going to move to the second example when wanting to trade this concept with the resistance side. And let's now look at the second example on how to trade or understand resistance the best way possible. So right here we can see an opportunity. A little before, yeah, we can see an opportunity. Price rejected this area multiple times like this. And yeah, so in this case, what you could have done, or what you can do, is to take short position around this area based off of this wick, because we had multiple rejections previously, right? We had rejections right here. You can use this as a rejection as well. We had rejections right here, and then right here. And remember, we're on a 4-hour time frame, so this should be very, very well respected if your bias is bearish at the time as well, fundamentally wise. Okay, so then could have taken a short position right here, place your stop loss above this wick to give this trade more breathing room, and get out of the trade, let's say around this area right here. So moving forward, that exactly happened. We managed to hit our take profit zone. Okay, so let's now look at why I told you guys, or why I was saying that we now need to have a closer look at our second example, because we're moving the price forward, and what we can see in this example is that price broke through our resistance area without giving us a beautiful pullback to create the support area, because right here you still see a little pullback, but I would not trade based off of this pullback, because I like to see a perfect pullback to the previous resistance or previous support area in order to take a trade. So yeah, this is basically how to trade based off of the resistance concepts that I provided for you guys. Now we're going to do the same, but for our support area, on how to identify perfect long opportunities. Okay, so talking about the first example when it comes to trade based off of the support concept, we have a beautiful example right here. Boom, we're going to draw in our resistance area like this. Let's say like this. Like I said before, you don't need to worry about the wicks, okay, because they are there to place our stop loss, and they are not as important for this concept. So right here, you could have entered a long position right around this area. Suck. Place your stop loss below this wick right here, and let the trade run all the way, let's say about all the way until this area right here, for example. Okay, so now moving forward, we can perfectly see that price used this area and hit our take profit zone. Why? Because we had multiple confluences that this support area was being respected multiple times. And when looking in the future, we can also see that that exact area, move this away, was also being respected multiple times. You just need to wait and to be patient. Okay, because right here, not only that we have multiple rejections right here, we have multiple rejections right here again, which is another confluence that if your fundamental bias is bullish at that time, you could have entered another trade like this, place your stop loss below this wick here again, and let the trade run all the way until your take profit zone to secure as much profits as possible. And yeah, this is just one way on how to use this concept based off of rejections off of the area that you are looking for. And for the third example, on which we talked about at the start of this video, when wanting to trade based off of this support concept, we have a beautiful support opportunity right around this area like this. You can see multiple rejections, suck, and suck. So what we would like to see right now is, when wanting to trade, the third example of this concept is a break and retest, use this support zone as a resistance, and then price to move to the downside. This would be a perfect example, and this time we are bearish fundamentally, which means that we are waiting for this to happen based off of technicals to be sure that this trade is going to go in our way. So moving forward, we can see that that exactly happened. I mean, let me move away these things. Boom, we broke through this area, through previous resistance area, went back, price gave us a pullback, used it as a resistance area, and then we could have entered a short position based off of this. Okay, place our stop loss again like this to give this trade more breathing room above these wicks right here, above this wick right here, and let the trade run all the way wherever our take profit zone is. Okay, but for this time, this would have been a beautiful setup, and this is basically one way out of the three concepts that I showed you guys in order to master these concepts the best way. And for the last example, the second example based off of everything I showed at the beginning, is a zone called breakthrough, that we're not going to retest that area, that price will just simply break through your support. So right here, boom, we have another perfect support opportunity, support zone opportunity like this. We have rejections right here, here. So now we identify our support area, moving the chart forward. Boom. We can see, I mean, like, come on, price broke through our support area without coming back, without retesting that area, which means at this time our fundamental bias was very bearish, and most likely we're not going to get a pullback to catch an opportunity to enter a sell position, which is no problem because you're not always going to have those opportunities. But this is just a second example on how to or be aware of when it comes to identifying this concept the best way as it gets. Yeah, so in this case, like I said before, price just simply broke through this area without giving us a retest in order to take a short position. And when going further, price just simply went down to the downside. And yeah, this is just one of the concepts that I like to use when it comes to technical analysis, when it comes to completely master support and resistance the best way as it gets. So I now hope that whoever just watched this video now has a better understanding on how to use and how to trade based off of the support and resistance concept I use in order to manage a lot of money. So if you enjoyed today's video, if you like the concept that I'm using, you want to learn more about the things that I'm providing for you guys, feel free to follow me on Instagram and to check out Next Generation of Traders, because that's where I want to build the most amount of profitable traders for the future to potentially have the chance to manage multiple 7 figures. With that being said, I'm Remy King. I hope you have a great rest of the day wherever you are. See you in the next video when it's time to take over the markets again. Peace.